In this video, I'm going to continue the music app, and what I'm going to focus on is populating this playlists view with some of the list cells that we created in the last video. So to get started on that, I'm going to go in here, and if you have a look at the way I constructed this last time, I just had a rectangle with a navigation bar. I'm going to delete all that because what I would prefer to do is use one of these Apple navigation page elements that's built into Zing. And this is a great, this is the right element for this particular task because it has a title. So when you go in here, it has that large title, which we can rename as playlists. It has the built-in scroll view that we can add our list elements to. So actually, let me just create a column in here. So I'll drop a column in here. So that's just a vertical stack. That'll create a vertical stack of elements. And now I'm going to drop in some of these playlist elements. So I can just use, with one of these selected, I can use Command D to duplicate it. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think that'll be enough for now. Okay, so just as a reference, I'll show you what we're building. So like we want to replace these placeholders with some images, and then we'll replace the titles and the creator or the genre or whatever that is with some text. So I went and downloaded just a few sample bits of album art and playlist artwork, and what we'd like to be able to do is in this playlist view, it'd be great to be able to drag these in here. Now the way it's set up at the moment, we can drop one in here, but it's actually not replacing that album artwork that we had. It's just adding a new image element into the playlist, so we don't really want to do it like that. What we need to do is go back to our artwork, basic.artwork, and we want to be able to replace or like set the image source for this image here. So I'm going to call this as image, and what you can do is when you want to expose a property from down here to the parent, you can use a thing called alias. So alias is a way of taking a property from within an element like this and exposing it here, and that way we can set it in its parent. So I'm going to create an element here called source, and I'm going to set it from image source. Oops. So what that is saying is I want to create a new property effectively at this level, and it's linked directly to this image's source property. Okay. And if I go over to the playlists, I'm going to do a similar thing here. So this basic artwork, now if you have a look at this and select it, you can see here that it's got that source element there. If I go over here, I'll create an alias, and I'll call it source artwork.source. Okay. So what that's doing is that's kind of passing that this artwork element's source property and making it available within this Apple list cell. So if I have a look at the view that's full of these list cells, like over here, if I select one of these, you can now see that that source is available here. You could either go and set that, you could type it in here, you could type in images /1.jpg, but the easier way to do it is to just drag one of those images across like that. And now that's setting the source, so I'll just do the rest. Okay, there we go. So as simple as that, we've now created configurable properties using that alias technique, and if we tap on here, we can see that we've already got this going along pretty well. Now you'll notice here that this isn't scrolling properly, and that's because when I created this list of elements, I dropped in this column, and yeah, it anchored to the bottom, and we don't really want that to happen. We want it to be just anchored to the top, and then bound to the sort of the width and exposition of this view. So bounds X, and so once I've done that, now you'll see that it's scrolling correctly. So that's already looking really good. When it comes to the title and creator, we want to be able to set those as well. So if I go back to this playlist thing, this playlist element, we can do a similar thing to what we did before. We want to be able to replace these title and creator text elements when we instantiate them over here. So when we drop them in, we want to be able to override them. So I'll just give this a name. So I'll call it title, and as creator. It's probably not the right name for this. It maybe should be description or something. But so now that I've named those, I can go up here and create aliases for those. So title will be title.text, and I'll create the creator one, which will be creator.text. Okay, so we have 3 aliases here, and let's have a look. When we go over here in the design tab, select one of those list elements, and there you go. You've got the source, which is the image source. You've got the title and the creator. So I could say here playlist 1, whatever. I'll just say Zing music, whatever. And this next one I'll say this is playlist 2, and I'll just say it's, I don't know, by Michael. Whatever, it doesn't really matter. But there you go, you can see there that we have now properties that we can override. And when we navigate in here, we see those updated properties. Now, if we have a situation like this where maybe a lot of these items don't have a creator, we could go into that list cell and just remove that default text. Actually, we could even just well, I'll leave it there for now, just so we can see it more clearly, but essentially just clear out that text so that there's no default value. If we go over here now, you can see that the ones where I overwrote it using this, they have the creator is Zing Music or Michael, but these other ones, they're blank. The issue that you can see though is that blank text label is still taking up space within that column. So if you look back here, so even if that's blank like it is there, it's taking up space within the column. Now we can get around that by controlling the visibility of this creator label. So I'd say visible. So we only want it to be visible if text is not equal to blank. Okay, so let's have a look over here now, or over here if you want. Now that second label it's invisible when it's blank, and what that means is invisible items don't take up any space in something like a column. So there we go. That I think is pretty neat already. So maybe the next thing I might do is these don't actually do anything yet. You can see there that it's reacting to the touch, but it's not actually doing anything. So what we want to happen is that when you tap on that, it will open up a new view, and let's create that view. Let's call it playlist. Oops, playlist details. So that's the view that we're going to open. And again, I think probably well, I don't know, this might not be the right thing for this view, but let's use the Apple navigation page again. Why not? So that there is that'll be the view that we open when we want to open this view, playlist details, when you tap on one of these list cells. Okay, so we'll go into the list cell .playlist and say on activated. We're going to do that thing that we did earlier, which is view.push a new one of these playlist details elements. And just like before, we want the context to be this, so that it stays within this tab. We don't want to just push it to the top level of the top view stack. Okay, so let's see how this works. So if I tap on this, it's going to open a new one of these. And you can see there that the title is title. What we actually want to do with this is we want to set the title to whatever the title is for this particular list item. So if we tap on playlist 1, we want that title to be playlist 1. So let's to see how we might do that, we just go in here and just we could edit this text here to, I'll just call it title 1 or whatever, just so that I can see the code that it's created. So it's set this property navigation bar dot title, and it's set it to title 1. I'm going to cut that and go back to here and go in here and say we want to set the property, this property here, but rather than title 1, we're going to use this element here, so title dot text. Okay, so whatever text is in that title will be set to be the navigation bar dot title. So let's see if it actually works. I'll tap on playlist and I'll go to playlist 2. So we're expecting the title to be playlist 2. Yeah, and sure enough it is. Okay, so that's all working pretty well, and I hope you can see that it's actually pretty straightforward to build up a hierarchical app like this music app. Obviously the music app's got heaps of other features, and I think I'll continue on some of those in the next video.